Hey guys, it's me, MidweekJack24 here. Today I'm going to be reacting to OverSimplified's newest video, the First Punic War, Part 1. And First Punic War, Part 2 is currently premiering, so first, just going to react to this one, then after that, immediately react to that one, and that should cover well, I know part one's going to cover today's video, and I know part two would cover Monday's video. So anyways, I'll see you all copyright belongs to Oversimplified, and let's begin. Oh, also I would be skipping over a couple of his ads. Also, it's been a while since I've seen any Roman history, so my knowledge of this might be a bit skittish, to say the least.
This video was made possible by NordVPN. Click the link below and get an exclusive deal with a huge discount and a 30-day money-back guarantee. Introducing our new, glorious, breathtaking bucket plushie. Limited quantity. Available now.
Ooh, actually, no, that seems good.
Some Punic War character pins. Buy them, or I'll marry your mother.
That doesn't sound that bad.
It's your choice. Oh, Marcellus, you sure have a lot of dignitas. Kiss me. Okay. Hey, Dad. Hi, son. Just reading the newspaper. What can I do for you?
Hold on, the SPQR. This is Rome. This is the Roman Empire. I know it's something in Latin. I forgot what it was since I wasn't really taught Latin, but I did study it. Can't remember it off the top of my head. I do know that this is the Republic, though.
You know how you always say Rome is the greatest civilization in the world? It bloody well is. Well, I was just wondering, what makes us so great? How did we come to be? Wow, my son. Boy, let me take you on a journey to this side of the room. The story of Rome.
Hold on. Warning. Tale is contained within the slideshow presentation. May be partially or entirely mythical. Well, I mean, Rome does have some portion of mythology built into its early history. That I do agree with, but there's been a couple of things in it that does support that a portion of it isn't.
Begins with these beautiful baby boys going to town on some she-wolf mommy milkers.
Well, I mean, that is partially on what the myth says, but,
Gross. You're gross! Sorry, son. You're not gross. I love you. They're called Romulus and Remus, and when they grew up, in 753 BC, they founded Rome. But there was just one problem. They couldn't agree on which of them should be the king. But they worked it out peacefully, right?
Nope.
Oh, heavens no. Romulus caved Remus's skull in with a shovel. Here's a picture. Our first king committed fratricide? I know.
What is fratricide? That homicide? But either way, that doesn't seem nearly as bad as any of the other stuff the Romans did back in those days.
Look at his face. When's the part where we become the greatest civilization, Dad? Well, you see, at first Rome was full of men. Oh, yeah. I'm talking like a real sausage party. You know what I mean? Yes, sir. So we invited some neighboring cities over for a big feast, and then we literally kidnapped all of their women. Here's a picture. Look at that.
Well, Rome was great for the ancient times, not great for modern times.
But she's like, this is messed up. You're messed up. Ugh.
Well, I mean, it's messed up to us modernly, but I mean, back then, it was more casual, unfortunately.
Sorry, I'll be a better father. I promise. So then, finally, after centuries of monarchy, those tyrannical kings started getting a little too big for their britches. So we overthrew the kings and established Rome as a republic. Is that when killing stopped?
No.
Heavens no. That's when the killing surged, baby.
Agreed. And the Roman Republic fell during Caesar's reign, which surprisingly enough though was quite epic for a dude. Took over Gaul, pretty much had pretty much almost assassinated Pompey the Great. Unfortunately for him, someone else beat him to it.
We went wild and conquered the Latin League, the Samnites, the Etruscans. Woo! What a rush! Dad, Rome seems pretty barbaric. You're barbaric! Oh.
Kind of.
I forgot to tell you about the time a prophet told Saturn his son would one day overthrow him. So Saturn literally ate his own son seconds after he was born.
Pretty much a large portion of Roman mythology is copy and pasted from Greek mythology. And this Saturn is basically, is Kronos. And the son that was supposed to overthrow him was Zeus, aka Jupiter or Juno, one of the two.
I don't want to see a picture. Here's a picture. Dad! Look!
To be fair, that is also a Greek picture of what happened.
Dad, that's messed up, man. Are we really this uncivilized? Hey! If we were so uncivilized, would we use communal toilets where we all fart and poo together in one big stinky, steamy, dirty toilet room? Yeah, Dad, we would. Clean your butt with a sponge, Timulus. But all these guys just used it. What's wrong with your son, bro? I don't want to be Roman.
The communal bathrooms were indeed a thing. I can confirm that, but I can definitely say that, yeah, it must have been extremely awkward and weird.
So weird. You're weird. Sorry, you're not weird. I'm sure you're probably fine. The Roman Republic, a nation that, since its foundation, had been stabbing necks all the way down the Italian peninsula.
That is true.
But this isn't the famous Roman Empire that ruled the known world.
And this... Well, I mean, if you really want to be a bit more accurate with how much territory it had, just include the final bits of Crimea, up here to Crimea, and all the way down to that portion of Georgia.
This is a relatively juvenile Rome, still just a regional power. In 264 BC, the big daddy of the Western Mediterranean was Carthage.
True.
Let's rewind a bit. Carthage was founded in 814 BC, when some Phoenicians in Tyre had a mega surplus of goods, and decided to export those goods across the Mediterranean. They became the dominant trading power in the region, and to support their growing trade network, the Phoenicians established a number of colonies, one of which was Carthage.
Yeah.
Carthage began its life as a Phoenician trade colony, and the Carthaginians were actually Phoenicians. Or, if you're a Latin-speaking Roman, they were Punic, hence the name of the video.
Agreed.
Over the centuries, Carthage gradually expanded and became the region's base of power. Just like Rome, Carthage was a semi-democratic republic with its own senate and judiciary. But there were also some pretty hefty differences between the two. While Rome was big into farming and stabbing people in the neck, the Carthaginians, on the other hand, just like their Phoenician forefathers, had built their power through trade and navigating the waves. They went here and there, selling ivory tusks, gold, and slaves. And as a result, they were rolling in it. Whenever they weren't busy swimming around in their copious hoards of money, in their spare time, they also possibly enjoyed sacrificing their children to Baal, the god of... Let me just check my notes. Yes. Plant fertility. Oh boy, these figs aren't looking too hot. Maybe if I throw my son into a burning pit of fire, they'll grow. Have you tried watering them, Dad? No, we'll try that second. As a result of all their...
Well, I mean, it does explain a good portion of, of Roman history. Well, actually, also Carpathian history along with Roman history. is that, yeah, human sacrifices were a thing. Actually, that's common throughout all the time in the ancient world. So pretty much human sacrifices for plant growth really isn't that much of like a shock to me as it could be for others.
Carthage had emerged as one of the Mediterranean's superpowers. But wait, they said. Rome? What the heck is that? Well, I know it's a pretty obscure little country that you've probably never heard of. But this spunky young nation was about to upset the entire region's balance of power.
Agreed.
Initially, the two sides enjoyed relatively friendly relations, and had even signed a couple treaties. But it was a relationship that was practically destined to turn sour. See, Rome had a thing where they liked to aggressively expand their boundaries.
Which this would lead all the way up to the Roman Empire, but the Roman Republic basically as much as Rome and a lot of Rome does the Romans don't want to admit that the Republic that they originally served fell like around 200 years before Julius actually took up title of emperor, but granted that they held it together for 200 more years till Julius did that. But its aggressive expansions is what caused the Roman Republic to conquer Greece. Greece, although it did take some time, conquer the Balkans, which also took some time, conquered Gaul, which took even longer, but yeah, it goes without saying.
Often viewing such expansion as a defensive act, kinda like when you kill your neighbor, because you knew eventually they would have tried to kill you first. Meanwhile, Carthage was extremely protective of its wealthy trade network. So if you put a very strategically important island between them, well, 2 plus 2 equals war.
Agreed. But Sicily, regardless, was always going to be there. It's not like you can't get rid of Sicily. Well, maybe the volcanoes can do that for you, but eh, yeah, I don't think that Sicily would be going away anytime soon.
Rose, and the two sides began viewing each other with increasing disdain. The hard-working Romans looked across the water at the money-hungry Carthaginians and said, "Look at those dishonest crooks. Bet they've never done an honest day's work in their lives." And the Carthaginians looked back and said, "Look at those simple-minded brutes. Bet they've never sacrificed a baby in their lives."
I can assure you, both sides have done some awful crap.
Yeah. While war between the two superpowers seemed inevitable, the event that finally triggered it was a little unexpected. The whole thing began with a few simple mad lads on a wild night out. These mad lads are called the Mamertines. They were Italian mercenaries employed by the tyrant of Syracuse. Here. But when he died, his successor said, "Sorry fellas, we don't need any big burly men with sharp sticks anymore. You can all go home." The Mamertines, as it turned out, didn't want to go home. So instead, they went to the nearby town of Messana and said, "Hey man, we are but poor little buff boys without a home. May we come in?" Aw, poor fellas. Sure thing. Just so long as you promise not to massacre all of us.
Ooh, you've never heard of what do you call it? You never heard of the Trojan horse. And this was during, as I know, Rome was founded by a lot of some Trojan survivors from the Trojan War. Granted, yes, the Trojan War was indeed a real war. Granted, how much of it was real versus mythology, that's questionable, but we do know the city of Troy was built on the same place around 7 to 9 times, and yeah, we found the Troy that belonged during that, and each settlement lasted for quite a long time there. So we do know the Trojan War did happen. It happened at the end of the collapse of the Bronze Age. But we'll figure it out.
We promise. The Mamertines then massacred all of them. Well, not all of them, just the men. And they stole their homes and families. Ha! This is my house now! This is my best dad ever mug now, and you guys are my new family. Son, wanna go play catch with your old papa? You're not my real dad! Ugh, teenagers. Am I right, dear? Yup. Not my real husband. Ugh, I'm so trapped in this marriage. Then get out! No, Misana was...
That's basically how invading places went in the ancient times.
Controlled by the Mamertines, and they began raiding up and down the Syracuse coastline. When the new ruler of Syracuse saw this, he wasn't happy. The Syracusans began fighting back, and in response, the Mamertines said, "Oh crap, they're fighting back? What do we do? Quick, we'll convince the Carthaginians to come and save us." Oh no! We're in trouble, and we need a big, strong empire to come and rub our bellies. Why are you saying it like that? If I was a big, strong empire, I think I'd like to be seduced. See?
I mean, I wouldn't blame it, as seeing a strong empire getting treatment, saying that, oh, you're the best, you're the strongest. Oh yeah, that does help.
It's working! The Carthaginians had long dreamed of controlling all of Sicily. They had been fighting Syracuse and their Greek influence on the island for centuries, and now, here was a great opportunity to get one over on them. So Carthage promptly answered the Mamertines' cry for help, and sent a force to garrison Messana. As it turned out, however, some within the ranks of the Mamertines weren't too happy with the occupying Carthaginians, and they sent out a second cry for help to Rome. When it reached the Roman Senate, they were a little more hesitant. Going to help the Mamertines ran the risk of triggering an all-out war with Carthage, and they had only just finished conquering the Italian peninsula, so they were kind of tired. Plus, the Mamertines were all the way across the water. They had never made a leap like that before, so you would assume that to avoid any conflict with Carthage, the exhausted Romans would probably sit this one out. But you would assume wrong. Rome just couldn't resist a good chance for war. Why? Well, there's something you gotta understand about Rome.
It's Rome.
See, as a republic, they were hell-bent on preventing any one man from ever gaining too much power. And so rather than having one leader, Rome had two, called consuls, who shared power. These consuls could also only serve for 1 year at a time, before new consuls were elected. These measures, to limit the powers of the consuls, were noble, but had an interesting side effect. The consuls knew they had just 1 year to try and gain as much glory and prestige as possible, something that was very important in Roman society. And the best way of gaining glory and prestige? Military victory, of course. The Roman political system basically...
Roman military and politics. Roman politics and military were intertwined. That's correct. Senators were often also military generals. Also correct. Consuls led the armies. Yep. This is true. Consuls had 1 year to go and crack as many schools as possible. Well, as a consul, yes. As a soldier, well, they can just go back to the army. Wait, why did I turn this on again?
Ended up encouraging these consuls to go out and be as aggressive as your Italian grandmother when you don't eat all the spaghetti. And so the glory-seeking consuls convinced the people to vote in favor of going to Messana. And in they went. Upon the arrival of the Romans, the Carthaginians in the city, amongst the confusion, were forced to leave. Now, in contrast to Roman aggression, the Carthaginian military had a slightly different philosophy. Alright, kids, listen up. If you want to grow up to be Carthaginian military leaders, there's a few things you have to understand. If you fail to succeed on the battlefield, that's a crucifixion. Showing cowardice, that's a crucifixion. Hello, sir. What are you doing here? Aren't you meant to be in Messana? Yeah, but the Romans showed up. So you just left? Sure did. Oh, you better believe that's a crucifixion.
Well, at least the teacher is doing an excellent job at teaching Carthage military tactics and punishments, which did happen. And I'm 100% certain that the Roman Empire adopted adopted the crucifixion process. Oh, right. Where this was before Christianity. So crucifying people didn't result into a giant religion. Phew.
The Roman consuls were awarded for victory, and therefore tended to be aggressive go-getters. By contrast, the Carthaginian generals were brutally punished for failure, and so they tended to be more cautious and restrained. This dynamic is helpful for understanding some of the crazy things that happened during the Punic Wars. So, the Romans have crossed over to Messana, and now there was some red on the island. Hit that panic button. This turn of events was unacceptable to both Carthage and Syracuse, so the traditional enemies teamed up to kick the Romans off their island.
Oh no. This is like France and Britain teaming up against the Vikings. Sorry, someone texted me.
Surrounded the city and said, "Hey, you jerks! This isn't your island! Come out of there at once!" "Okay, we're coming!" See, Phil, you just gotta speak with authority. That's what being an alpha male's all about. Hey, man. Oh, you brought your weapons and armor? No, I didn't mean...
And you called yourself an alpha male. Oh boy. Romans, I'm gonna go and agree with you. Go get 'em, boys!
Oh, crap. Out the Roman legions came to engage the Carthaginians in battle, and they sent them packing. With the Battle of Messana, whether intended or not, by going to help the Mamertines, the two sides had just slipped into an all-out war. With the initial Roman victory, towns across Sicily, including Syracuse, began switching allegiance, because being a winner is more fun. But the Carthaginians
Agreed.
weren't about to just give up that easily. In 262 BC, they began building up their forces at Agrigentum. So the Romans,
Smart idea.
being aggressive go-getters, aggressively go-got them. The Romans immediately laid siege, hoping to starve out the Carthaginian garrison. However, because this was the first time Rome had been fighting outside the Italian peninsula, across the water, they struggled to supply their forces, and before long, the Romans were as starving as the Carthaginians they were besieging. They had to forage for food, leaving them open to ambush. And when Carthaginian reinforcements arrived, creating a double siege, things got really bad.
To be fair, this looks pretty bad, but at the same time, this looks pretty cool as well. You're sieging a town while being sieged yourself.
Everybody starved each other for months until nobody could take it anymore, and they all finally came out for battle, which Rome
Oh yeah, and Carthage did have war elephants.
won. Here's the report from the recent siege at Agrigentum, sir. We killed 30,000 while only suffering 7,000 losses? That's amazing! We're the best! Yes, sir. Whoops, those are the wrong way around. What?
Oh. That's how it worked back then.
Lost 30,000? We're the worst! But we won, right? Yes, sir. But we also got our asses kicked. Yes, sir. So are we the best or the worst? Yes, sir.
And that's how you answer that.
The
Uncertain, but quite good.
won at Agrigentum because they were aggressive go-getters, and they now began eyeing up the possibility of conquering the entire island. But they also suffered very heavy losses, and it was clear they couldn't sustain a campaign if they couldn't supply their troops. Here's the issue. Sicily was an island. Islands are surrounded by water. A strong navy would be vital for supplying troops and winning the war. Here was Carthage's navy, and here was Rome's. I think you
Non-existent at this point.
see the problem. Historians debate just how much naval experience Rome had at this point. Presumably, they must have had something to defend their shoreline. But whatever it was, it would have paled in comparison to the Carthaginian juggernaut. And so Rome had to figure out exactly what to do about all this water. Come on, men! We're not gonna let some pansy candy-ass water get in the way of our glorious victory against Carthage! Charge! Oh my goodness! I love... we're gonna need a bigger boat.
Agreed?
What's a boat? I don't know. If the Romans wanted to win this war and obtain Sicily, there was only one thing for them to do. I guess we're just gonna have to go ahead and build ourselves a war fleet, aren't we? From scratch? From scratch. But we don't even know how! Never mind how to fight with one. Don't worry, Hank. We're up to the challenge. Come on, guys. We're Romans. And Romans aren't afraid of anything. And so, the Romans worked long and hard trying to figure out how on earth you actually build the latest style of warship. In the end, they had a bit of luck on their side. A Carthaginian quinquereme ended up accidentally grounding on Italian soil. The Romans found it and copied the design, while the new fleet was...
To be fair, if it's anything the Romans hadn't changed from the Roman Republic to the Roman Empire. It was basically building up your own stories and boats.
Being built, the Romans trained rowers on land, and would you believe it? The Romans put together a full fighting fleet of 120 warships in just 2 months. That's
To be fair, that's quite impressive.
staggering feat. Now, I know what you're thinking, but oversimplified. If the Romans can build a war fleet from scratch in 2 months, then why does it take you half a year to make a video? Well, my valued subscriber, I think you should shut up. What the?
It takes a while for people to animate videos, not to mention do a lot of research for it, so that's where all my respects go to you, buddy.
Heck, how on earth did the Romans learn how to build a war fleet? This shouldn't be happening. From what I hear, they copied the design from us, sir. Well, how on earth did they get the blueprint, Carl? I don't know, sir. But I'll tell you what. If you're worried about people stealing your data, no, and you want to protect yourself from outside threats, don't you dare. Then you, my friend, if you mention NordVPN, I'll scream. Should use NordVPN.
No, I'm sorry, Oversimplified, but I need to skip your ad because, well, as much as I love you, bud, I'm not having that risk of possibly having to sit through an ad. Sorry, bud, I do not like ads.
Oh yeah, the siege at Agrigentum, supply issues, and building a war fleet. So now the Romans have a navy, and it's time to put it to the test. But how does one wage ancient naval warfare? Easy. All of the ships had giant bronze rams on the front, so all you had to do was outmaneuver the enemy and give him the jimmies. Easy as pie. And so the
That is true on how naval warfare worked back then.
Romans set out for some good old-fashioned jimmy giving. The consul, Gnaeus Cornelius Scipio, set out for the town of Lipara, believing the garrison there wanted to join the Romans. As he entered the harbor, however, he found himself trapped by a Carthaginian fleet, and in the following skirmish, he was completely outmatched. The Romans may have had a brand new fleet, but when it came to engaging in actual combat, their inexperience showed.
Which, I mean, if it's anything the Romans have learned whenever they're defeated, they learned how to fight back harder. Granted, it might take time, but they learn.
Just something better about the Carthaginian ships. The Carthaginian rowers had nicer abs. The entire Carthaginian Empire had been built on expert seamanship.
That is true on how it was built on.
When it came to water, the Carthaginians were better, and the Romans were wetter. In their initial skirmish, the Romans were beaten so badly that the consul, Scipio, was given a nickname, Asina. And if you're wondering what that means, just drop the Ina. So what were the Romans to do? How could they possibly stand up to this Carthaginian superpower? Well, there's something you gotta understand about the Romans. Back when they found that Carthaginian ship and copied its design, that wasn't a one-off thing. Copying their enemies was as Roman as punishing murderers by sewing them into a leather pouch with a monkey, snake, and rooster, and then throwing them into a river, which is a thing they did.
Yeah, at least it wasn't being boiled alive inside of a metal bowl.
Wait, what was I talking about? Oh yeah, copying their enemies. Many of the most famous Roman inventions were actually borrowed. Aqueducts, check.
Assyrians did first, that's correct. Greek slash Estericot. To be fair, the chariots have been around for a lot longer than people remember.
Racing, their gods, even
Yeah, we all knew the Greek gods were the Roman gods were just the Greek gods.
warfare. The Romans would get pierced by a Sabine javelin, and they'd be like, wow. They'd get hacked to bits by an Iberian sword, and they'd be like, wow. And they'd copy the designs for themselves. However, they wouldn't just copy it. They would advance it, finding ways to adapt it as perfectly as possible. And in the case of naval warfare, the Romans realized if they wanted to beat the Carthaginians at their own game, they would have to adapt. The Romans excelled at combat on land, not on water. But what if, they said, we could somehow turn a sea battle into a land battle? Sounds crazy, right? Well, they made a couple of tweaks to their warship, and look, here they come again. They must love getting their asses kicked.
Speaking about getting their behinds kicked, I'm pretty certain that they loved it. Loved it because it tells them how to fight better. Last I checked, you do not want to be on that end of the scale.
Sir, what's that toll thing sticking out of their ships? They really are idiots! Look at that thing! That'll make them blow over! I mean, look at... Bob! Bob! Get your camera out! Take a picture of it! I mean, how stupid can you be? Let's just add a big wooden tower to our ship that'll weigh us down and blow us over in the wind! I mean, what does that thing even do?
That's what that thing does, by the way.
The Romans had built a big swinging spiked gangway called the Corvus, so when the Carthaginian ships approached to ram them, the Romans would just slam them. The Carthaginians tried going around, no problem. The Corvus could swivel. Try going behind, the Romans would huddle to the coastline. It was foolproof. Those big, sexy Carthaginian rowing muscles could flex all they want, but they were no match for the Roman mind. So ladies, you see, what really matters is what's on the inside. Please go out with me. And with that...
Don't worry, buddy. I feel your desperation there, but I'm pretty certain that I've got my skills down in a bag to an extent.
The Romans, who had only just recently began dabbling in the art of naval combat, thanks to their ingenious Corvus, had just managed to outclass the Mediterranean seafaring superpower. The Carthaginians were stunned, and the general in charge of the defeated Carthaginian fleet...
Hannibal? Wait a second. Hannibal I'm thinking about? Hannibal? Let me take a look. Alright. Let me take a look. Damn it, why do I have to keep doing I am not a robot? But I'm pretty certain this is the same Hannibal I'm thinking about. If not, I'm going to be pretty upset, but I really hate these I am not a robot thing. It annoys me. Wait a second, where is... Wait a second. Wait, was this the same Hannibal? No, no, not the same Hannibal, but is Hannibal? No, could have been. Could have been it. No, I don't think so, but still a possibility because Hannibal, as far as to my knowledge, yeah, he was Hannibal Barca. What was indeed a Carthaginian general, but that was during the Second Punic War between Carthage and Rome. But this is only part one about the First Punic War, so I don't think that this is the same Hannibal. But I'm pretty certain that this could possibly be a distant ancestor.
Well, you better believe that's a crucifixion.
Oh, damn it. Damn it, it's just the dude who got crucified. Damn it.
With their newfound control of the seas, the Romans could now more easily blockade coastal cities and supply their legions on land. Surely, the Romans were now free to unleash their aggression all over the island. Haha! Hey Carthaginians, what are you gonna do now that we're free to rampage across the island? We're gonna go inside these walls and close this gate. Oh, come on, guys. Stop messing around. Come out so we can kill you. No. Oh, come on. No. Oh, no! To counter the new Roman supremacy, the Carthaginians decided to engage in a defensive war of attrition, forcing the Romans to engage in siege. After lengthy siege, the war in Sicily became a long, hard, back-and-forth slug. One by one, cities slowly fell as the Romans gained ground. Occasionally, the Carthaginians countered and even pushed them back, only for the Romans to rebound again. And whenever a city did finally fall, the Romans could delight in slaughtering the entire population and selling any survivors into slavery,
Which, back then, as awful as slavery is, back then, Rome did it without disgrace. Whoever they conquered was given into slavery. It's unfortunate, but that is history.
pretty standard procedure at the time. In general, the campaign on land was progressing much slower than the Romans had hoped, and quite frankly, they were getting sick of it. So in 256 BC, they decided that something had to change. Hey everyone, my name's Marcus Attilius Regulus, and I'll be one of your consuls for this year. Look, as
Oh, wait a minute. I think I know this dude. Let me think. The name sounds very familiar. I'm pretty certain this is one of the military leaders that dominated ancient Rome, the Roman Republic, if I'm not mistaken.
sure you all know, Sicily's being a bit of a drag. Sure, I could go and spend my entire year as consul besieging one single city, but they'll never make a naked statue of me for that. So,
Yeah, having a naked statue back then was a very good thing. Having one now depends on your views. I don't judge, but
here's the new plan. I'm gonna skip Sicily entirely, take my army, and go right for the heart of Carthage itself. I'll slaughter the men, enslave all the women and children, and when I return, you'll all build 1,000 naked statues of me.
damn it, the monetized symbol is in stone. Well, at least OverSimplified knows how to stay monetized.
Marcus, that women and children stuff, that seems pretty evil and barbaric. No, Jim, it's perfectly normal in the ancient world.
See, that's actually normal.
Sometimes we even chop their pets in half.
That's also true. He even says it there.
Okay, guys, looks like the Romans are coming straight for us this time. And what will they do when they get here? They'll kill us all. They'll massacre each and every last one of us. They may even chop our pets in half. That's barbaric! No, Rob, it's actually pretty normal for the time.
That's actually more normal for the time. It just happens to be modern day views that makes it seem more barbaric. Well, granted, it is barbaric, but back then it wasn't considered barbaric.
We'd do the same to them. Who'll protect us? Funny you should ask, Mary. That's kind of why I called this meeting. Who will protect us? Protect our families. our homes, our children. You guys? Ha! Don't make me laugh. Why, you're just a bunch of stupid and weak farmers. Simple-minded buffoons. Cowards. Fools. Rob here thinks enslaving women and children is barbaric. You're a snowflake, Rob. Yes, you are. The fact is, if the Romans manage to land on African soil, we're all gonna die. A terrifying, hideous, unspeakably painful death.
He's not wrong about that.
Is that the end of that speech? Yes.
Quick, take away the pug.
The Carthaginians had to stop the Romans from ever landing in Africa, because they believed that would be the end. So as the Romans were building an invasion fleet, the size of which the world had never seen before, the Carthaginians were preparing an even bigger one to stop them. And in 256 BC, as the Roman invasion fleet made its way south, the stage was set for a humongous battle that saw 680 warships.
That's in total, but wow. That is quite a lot of ships.
Around 300,000 men fighting to decide the course of the war. To this day, the Battle of Cape Ignomus remains possibly the largest naval battle in human history.
Potentially. But, yeah.
All the way back in ancient times. So the next time your granddad tells you about the time he sank a Japanese aircraft carrier.
Actually, sinking a Japanese aircraft carrier is actually quite a huge accomplishment, though.
Kick him in the nuts. The Romans had a lot riding on this battle. They weren't just sending their warships, but transports as well, full of supplies and horses for their invasion of Africa. They therefore formed a protective wedge-like formation.
This is a common Roman formation, even on land. On land, go into a style of an arrow with two backup rows, but usually it's done in different ranks. It's hard to tell it through the depiction here, but pretty much this is more of a common thing that Romans are used to.
To punch through the long, thin Carthaginian line. The Carthaginian generals, however, desperate to prevent the Romans from reaching Africa, had a plan of their own. As the Roman fleet approached, the Carthaginian center feigned a retreat.
To be fair, that is always a smart move.
Luring the Romans in so their outstretched flanks could envelop them and get around the Roman corvus.
That does seem like a very good decision. Only problem, though, is we're about to see.
For plan. But with such a huge battle and so many ships crowded together, the Carthaginians struggled to maneuver as hoped. And in the chaos, 3 separate battles emerged across the huge battle space.
Well, at least the transports got out of there safe.
With the number of ships limiting their ability to maneuver, the Carthaginians became sitting ducks, and all the Romans had to do was start swinging.
Which is what they did.
The Roman center came out on top, and were then able to turn around and rescue their pinned down flanks. The Battle of Cape Ignomus.
30 sunk and 64 captured. At least the Romans made sure that their ships were sunk. So 30,000 through 40,000 killed versus 10,000 killed. To be fair, I'm proud of you, Rome. You've at least done it.
Was a Roman victory.
There we go, and I'll be off to watch the First Punic War Part 2 in the next video. Anyways, which will be like a couple of seconds, like right after I'm done with this. Anyways, goodbye, guys.